Are we good?
We are now recording.
All right, we'll call to order the Account and Finance Committee meeting for Thursday, January 19th at, 6:01. On the agenda, we only have one item, it's the bus budget presentation, so we will turn it over to Mary.
All right. So for FY24, we're going to propose a total of $977,112.01. 180 of that is our capital budget, which will include the bus shelter project that we're doing. We had to roll over a couple of shelters from this FY23 project into 24. So again, that's only 2 of the 7 that we planned on installing. And then, of course, we're wanting to order a bus, which has gone up pretty drastically in prices compared to previous years. The only major increases I would say is obviously our fuel. I looked over the numbers from the beginning of this fiscal year to current, and we're actually coming in a little bit lower, or we're coming in higher. So I had to add some more in the fuel line, which I just did the average miles and then times the $3.50 per gallon. And then our 4% increase for salaries across the board. Again, like Eric was saying, the bus budget, we kind of have to go in higher, I guess, because if we don't, then we can't ask for anything more after we submit it to the state. So, if that makes sense.
You said instead of 4, ask for 6 or something like that?
If she were to ask for a 3% raise,
Mm-hmm.
and the town gave a
Instead of
4,
four,
the state
we don't
would
get
pay its
reimbursed for
share
that extra percent.
of the 1%. So she and I sat down and talked, and not be presumptuous to say, oh, it'll be 5% or 10%. We figured that the 4% was on the upper end of what we're probably gonna be expecting this year.
Yeah.
So that would cover that the state would pay its share of the 4%.
And we've got to be mindful in this committee also that this year, as we saw at the VML conference, that things are trending to where we may be going down this year. So we're not going to be able to give 6-8% raises, I can tell you. It ain't happening.
Not asking.
Yeah,
So the 4% is a safe number.
it's a safe
For her
one,
to change.
yeah. In my opinion. I mean,
Like-
there's 2 others in the committee, yeah.
But I mean, just so we know that it can't be any higher because she's already turning in 4%.
It can be higher,
But
but
we
whatever
each have
above 4%
differences.
will be
Yeah.
fully the responsibility.
So, Mary, just a quick question, the bus shelters, when will we see some of those going up?
Just look at me here in a second.
You said they're
Yeah,
carrying over,
it's-
And I'm asking, because I know there's one on Lunenburg Avenue that tenants have actually been asking for
Really?
in front of the academy.
7 sites, and 5 are in this particular bus, okay, including Academy Square,
Okay.
Nottoway Manor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I can give you the list, but, there's 7 total shelters, and 2 of them have to be carried over till next year because they wouldn't allow us to go. We've ordered the easement plats to be drawn up. Mary and I have ridden around, and we've done
Yeah.
Google View and Earth View and all. And, to be honest with you, I haven't pressed B&B because they've been doing these other things. But B&B has come out and done the survey work. We just don't have the easement plats. I can tell you, Dave McCormick's agreeable to one, VMAX agreeable to one. And then we had several others that
Yeah.
were agreeable. Peel Manor is definitely one. But Peel Manor may have to wait a little bit because it was part of that expansion project where they were doing it. So, our expectation is 5 this year. And then 2 next year. Peel Manor may have to wait until they do their expansion because it was gonna be.
You'd put it in the-
I got a question. You got one on the eastern side too?
There may be one at Patriot Square.
Okay.
There may be one at Patriot Square. I can't remember.
Yeah, I would have to look at the list. It's been a while since I've looked over that one.
So you saying this year, is that 2023?
5 before July 1st.
And this is
Before
money that's
July
coming,
1st,
this
okay.
isn't town funds, this is bus
Yeah,
funds,
bus.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
You've
Yeah.
got-
Well,
I assume
yeah,
there's a share in there.
It's a 4% local match out of the
I'll get
total.
the list
So
real quick for you.
And then another quick question, the fund balance. I see obviously last year we used almost 7,000 of fund balance.
Mhm.
This year we're gonna use 13. What is, and that helps us, our obligations stay lower.
Right.
What is the balance of that fund balance currently?
It's around 30,000
And that's from when
last
we sell
time.
buses, when we
Mhm.
sell.
Yep. So yeah, we've got more than enough to cover this use of fund balance to keep the town obligation low. So I just planned on doing that same thing this year, same thing we did last year.
So if a
So
town of Blackstone bus ever needs to be replaced, what is typically our match for a bus that runs on our line?
Well, I mean, it's 4% and of anything capital, right?
Gotcha,
So
okay.
the bus prices are about 139,000 now, I think, which I just rounded it to 140 just because it's like 139 and 800 and some or something like that.
If you're talking about when we sell the buses, that money that we set aside, that fund balance,
Mm-hmm.
we've got $33,000 sitting in our
Yeah,
money market account.
that's what I thought.
From the sale of the buses.
So that
We put
answers
back
my,
in general
so the
fund.
4% would be $5,600. So
Right.
if we needed a bus in the next year or two, we've got plenty to cover another bus.
Correct.
Our share.
Correct.
Our share
Correct,
always
our
comes
share.
out of that money.
That's what I
And how
wanted
much
to
is
make
our
sure.
share?
It would be $5,600 to buy a bus.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to make sure we weren't just dumping our fund balance
Yeah. No.
Fund
Yeah, we-
balance
Yeah,
means
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
where he sells buses, where
Yeah.
or Mary sells buses.
Anything that we surplus, it just goes into like our fund account, I guess, and then
called
we.
fund balance through the bus shop.
What if it's in a Prince Edward bus? Does that go into our fund balance?
It's yeah, it's the same. It's a 4% local match.
We
So
do an auction sale or whatever,
Yeah.
we get $6,000 for it, instead of us dropping it in the checking account and
right.
And just,
we
yeah.
pull it out.
No, it makes sense.
Like I
So on
said,
Prince Edward bus,
I'm new
when
to
they go
this,
with
but
the-
okay, so I see that use of fund balance this year is $13,177.05, right? So was that carried over from last year, or how is that?
No, so that's just for FY24. So our fund balance that we used for last year was that $6,900. So it's just higher because obviously the budget is a little bit higher this year. So
The
This
fund
is- this
balance
is just for
a
24.
local match.
Right.
It's a good thing.
It's
actually.
not just one year to the next, some of that money's from buses we sold 5 years ago.
Correct.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's why that fund balance will eventually kind of go away, I feel like, because
More expensive.
they're more expensive, and if we keep going up on our use of fund balance,
Right.
it depletes that.
Yeah.
So last year was 69.56.
Yes.
This year it's 13,177.
Mm-hmm.
So from last year to this year, we sold more buses and put money
No.
in there
That's money that we're taking out of the account.
that we're
The
taking.
balance is $30,000 roughly.
Yeah.
Correct.
33. Yeah.
So you
So-
go,
So that's money that we're taking out of that $33,000.
you're gonna
So-
take 13,000 out.
Out of that
For your
33,000.
share of the bus and cap.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So then when we sell something, it just gets added to that account again.
We'll learn together, Mr. Miller.
So
If you will, very quickly, on bus shelters, just so you know, the 5 that were submitted for this year, Hill Manor, again, we may have to rotate that back out. Magnolia Place,
Mm-hmm.
Notway Manor,
Mm-hmm.
D. Duncanson's Apartments on
Man
Man Street
Street.
Apartments.
Man Street.
Man Street, and Academy Square on Lindbergh Avenue. Those are the 5 anticipated to be done this year, and the 2 additional, the expectation was, and we had another site over at what used to be called Pinewood Apartments, I don't even know what they call it, over on
Yeah.
Bird Road.
Yeah.
But the owner is like, thank you, no thanks.
Jake
The 2
had-
additional are McCormick's, Town Shop area, and
Jake has a.
You said Patriotic Squares in there?
Hmm?
You said Patriotic Squares in there?
it's not in there. No, the only east end would be that Man Street Apartments, which are not on Man and Dillon Street, maybe?
Okay.
You know where D. Duncanson's got those
Mhm.
things up there? That's the only
Jake
one
has
on
a
the east end.
constituent in his area that uses down 10th Street that utilizes the bus, and he has to walk to the academy. And he said that he was the one that really would like to have a shelter there,
But,
that he could use that.
I will, as soon as you guys vote Monday night on East End, I'll turn, B&B's done most of the field work, all they gotta do is give me a document.
And he was talking about, and it is, I don't know what we're gonna do, there's a little ditch there that you kinda have to cross that's kinda swampy. I don't know what.
Move it on up in the driveway so the bus can pull in.
Yeah.
The problem is you gotta get the bus turned around, so maybe even it's better to put it up, we have it up at the front where that bus stop is now.
Yeah.
Is it better to put it up in the building? But then, poor guy gotta walk another 100
Yeah.
yards up the building.
And you want it to be seen that it's used for the general public, not just for that property.
Right.
So by the road is better in my opinion.
What we submitted was, if you look at the driveway going up Academy, there's a bus bench there now. It's on the right-hand side as you're going in.
Gotcha, okay.
That's what.
Well, Philip, don't you think Patriotic Square or somewhere along in that area should have a bus shelter?
Maybe later. I mean, we can keep on applying for them and doing them. But we got money for 7. They've delivered 7 shelters, have they not?
Right.
The shelters are sitting up here.
Mhm.
So I gotta pour the concrete and do all that part out and get them mounted. But yeah, it's not a bad idea to have more rather than less. And if you remember, we did the one,
Question.
the apartments out of town, Cole Harbor Park.
Cole Harbor.
If you remember the
Rotary Club.
Rotary helped us, we did the concrete and the
Yeah.
Rotary put the thing in. So, yeah, more the better in every apartment complex. Ultimately, we can do it, but you've got to apply for that with the state, do you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's 5 in this year. When you're applying, are you applying for 2 or any more?
Well, so this, as far as this capital for 24, we are just applying for the funds to install the 2 that we already have
2.
currently. So it'll have to be another, we'll have to apply to actually purchase the shelters and install them type of
That would
deal,
be-
so it would be the following, yeah.
I think Jake had a question for you.
Are there percentages on this page, just lower percentages, that percentages of workload that you do for the bus shop versus other areas?
What do you mean?
These percentages here where you have like 50, 75, 50,
Oh,
and
right.
all the drivers
So-
are 100%. I'm assuming
yeah,
that's like
so-
the division of-
Right, so the town pays 20% of my salary, 50% of Christie's, and then the state pays for the bus drivers. So that's what that percentage breakdown is just how much the town pays for our salaries.
It's part of the deal we get for having a bus shop.
Right.
Because they also do the POs for the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's 25% of your labor is probably spent on the town and 50%
Right,
of Chris
right.
is spent on the town,
Right,
but 100% of the bus drivers are for the buses. That
Right.
makes sense.
so
What is a 5311?
it's just our, funding. We're in the 5311 federal grant, I guess, what would you call that? Category I would think. It's the funds that we're approved for, I guess, within DRPT. There's a lot of different funding things that you can apply for through DRPT, but 5311 is just the program that we're in, so. But back to the salaries, I know I clarified it with you all, but Mr. Miller wasn't in on that. That $1.50, that you see for the admin salary increase is, just dependent on our procurement certification that we had talked about, getting Christy and myself certified for back in the beginning of last year. So it's nothing set in stone. I just put it in there in the event that it does happen in FY '24.
Are you planning on that?
So-
happening or not?
I mean, we would like to. I don't know if realistically it's going to happen, so that's why I just put it in there to be on the safe side
Would the
if
state
we
take
do.
a split on that increase as well for the
Right.
service?
Yeah. So other than that, I did increase the professional services line a little bit as well because I would like to get the drivers more uniformed. And it doesn't fall under a capital because it's not enough money that we're spending to be considered capital, so I just put it in the professional services line. So,
So it'd be 100%
correct,
technically by the state.
correct, yes.
So that was in the uniforms or something?
Mhm.
It would look
Yes, sir.
nice.
It would look about nice.
Yeah, I think
Shirts or pants too, or
just shirts, just shirts and maybe some hats. A lot of the drivers have kind of shown interest in having some hats as well, so
They don't want nobody-
something like that. But other than that, I think those are the major changes. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions or
Pretty cut and dry.
Looks great.
We got a motion to approve and present to council on Monday.
So moved.
And give it to Jake and second to Mr. Miller. All those in favor? Aye. All right, if that's it, then we are going to adjourn this meeting at 6:15. Turn it off, Joe. Don't let Philip talk.
No, no, no,